Praise the Lord, my beautiful, blessed souls. It is Mother's Day, and although I know these holidays are really just to make money and other things, of course, but honoring your father and mother are in the Bible, and they are. God is serious about those things. He created Adam and Eve. He created relationships, marriage, families, and God is the head, and then there's the mother and father and mother rather. So we celebrate because we want to do just that. Honor, which is a lot of times people don't even think about it anymore, but we're gonna get into it because I wanted to talk about Eve. She got a bad rap. She had a lot going on, and from Eve in the beginning being discontent to becoming a Proverbs 31 woman. We're going to look at all aspects and facets of what transpired. Now we're going to look at honor because it said to honor the father and mother. It is in Genesis, but it does come after they were already in the garden. So when he popped up on the scene, we got to understand something. It was just Adam and the animals and God. So she had no mother. She had no, to learn how to be a woman, a wife, a mother. I'm quite sure because she had no examples that this was something, quite difficult or for her to learn and navigate. I mean, she just became a human being and just was, here with the man and with all of the stuff that was going on in the garden with her, with Adam. I mean, being new, I could just imagine. But her name means it's Eve, it is first woman or mother of, first woman, which is from wool man, from his rib, Adam's rib. And she's the second human being, but she's the first woman. And her name means the beginning or life, or it means an event, the day and time immediately before an event or an occasion. That I kind of was like, wow, because that was interesting. And Adam means first man, soil, earth, human, masculine is what his name means. So keep those in mind. We're going to discuss those later. But when we think about her being the mother of humankind and, God stating that we must honor, I'm going to look up the word honor so we can get into that. And I'm just going to briefly give you the definition. Honor, high respect, great esteem, and adherence to what is right or to a conventional standard of conduct. Something regarded as rare, opportunity, and bringing pride and pleasure and privilege. Then it says regard with great respect and fulfill an obligation or keep an agreement. So those are the definitions of honor. And just keep those in your mind as well because we look around. Do we honor anything? Do we honor each other? Do we honor God? Do we honor our parents? We kind of put more honor and esteem on other things, people, places, and things. So when we walk, through this, we need to kind of really break it down and really converse about it and really get into it. Because there's not a lot of that going around anymore. And when you think about men, women, people, children, and the positions and the powers and authorities that we hold, the titles and the positions in households, in the world, in our lives that we hold, there's not a lot of honor, meaning respect, especially when it comes to God and where He put and placed us. I mean, we tend to, because of the world, because of the devil and the fall, use things and do them to where we feel or see fit instead of what God originally designed them to be. And when we think about a lot of things just off the top of our heads, there's just so many things that we do not honor, especially when it comes to God, when it comes to titles and positions, even that we hold in each other's lives and in our lives, whether it's our families, it's in our jobs, whatever it may be. The honor has been lost, which we need to find it again. And it is a commandment. I mean, and it was set for a reason. We see what happens when we don't have these things. So, getting more into it, Eve is considered to be the woman of discontent. She's a woman, she's motherhood. And I believe, Eve got a bad rap, like I said. She went through some things, and I'm quite sure we all have as mothers. And none of us are perfect, whether we're women or men. And it's not to lay excuses to that to make, us have reasons to sin or to be in a sinful state or nature or disobedient. It's not, because grace and mercy abounds, but only, everyone that Jesus encountered, he said he heals, he whatever, helps, made whole. But he also told them to go sin no more. And, their lives usually were changed in some way, shape, or form, or fashion. So anyway, getting back to this discontent, because she was not content with what she had, and I guess she was wanting more, and this is how all of this kind of fell into play. And she was tricked with words, which the devil does, and her knowledge, because she wasn't knowledgeable about, really what was going on. I think she knew not to do it, but I don't think she knew what it, the demographics of it was. But just the disobedience, just in itself, because God said not to, just kind of took everything into left field. And I'm quite sure it was a lot for her to bear, as far as her consequences, because when we think about repentance and them being cursed and everything, we got to understand we repent, but God still allows us to suffer the consequences of our actions, because we reap what we sow. And she did sow bad seed, and she reaped it. I mean, when you think about the life she had, getting kicked out of the garden, her sons, one killing the other. I mean, I'm quite sure her life was like in a lot of turmoil because of it. And it was a choice that she made, that she just had to live it out, the consequences. And so God forgave her. He still loved her, but she still had to live out the consequences. So when we look at this, we're going to take it as how we're looking at it. She was brung in, taken from his rib. She was here to be helped. It was meat for his soul. She was here to help reproduce. And that's why being a woman, being a mother, a woman, and the place that we hold in that in this world is more than just being a body, you know, producing life or having sex or whatever. It's more to that office that God has given us. And I don't believe that God makes men and women to hold those offices. And I don't think he gives it to us lightly, so they can twist and change because you're masculine and feminine, all these things that they, go by. But when we look at them, they're distorting because they just want to do what they want to do. And that's just that. Even though it's not right, it's not supposed to be. They're just going to do their way and do what they want. So this is what we're seeing. So now, who was her? Where was her identity? I think she really probably didn't know a lot of who she was and what was going on. She was learning. And we got to learn that we're who God says we are. And she probably was kind of confused. All of this was new to her. And like I said, she paid dearly. But at the end of the day, we see that because of this, there was enmity The ground was cursed, her, Adam, and the serpent, all three were cursed. And we see how, even I see it as myself in motherhood and making mistakes. My mother made mistakes, her mother, and this, it all stemmed from Eve. It all stems from, it's in the bloodline. God redeemed it. I mean, Jesus came and he redeemed it. But we still, especially when we're sin, suffer the same consequences. So we have to pay attention to the patterns and the cycles and the thoughts and the habits that we have, because everything choice that we make, because we have free will, it does have consequences. So when we think about that, we have to understand that. And so, I'm quite sure, like I said, this took a turn for her household, and trying to get back, to being a Proverbs, instead of the woman of discontent who wanted more, who questioned God, who believed the serpent, who was ignorant, who didn't ask any questions, who was impulsive, who was emotional, irrational, or whatever you want to call it. And she just, made decisions and moved. We're not going to say Adam didn't go along with it, because it was when he ate the apple was when everything fell, not her. But she did put them in a predicament where they would be against each other. She let the devil come in and turn them against each other, against God, and all these other things. So as a Proverbs 31 woman, these are the things we need to be looking out for. And I'm quite sure we have been there and done that in our own lives in some way, shape, form, or fashion, whether it was having sex out of wedlock, having children, having families. These are the consequences of our actions and the decisions that we have chosen to be disobedient once again to God and to do what we want to do. So then we have to suffer the consequences that come along with it. And the consequences are what we are seeing each and every day today. Why? Because we are discontent. We're not happy. We're not obedient. We're not trusting and believing in God. We're not obeying Him and trusting Him to give us what we need. It may not be what we want, but what we need to provide and protect us the way that He sees fit. That is with boundaries. Why? Because there's rules, there's regulations. There's not just, people doing what they want to do. There's policies and procedures, that we have to follow. And he gives them, he put them there and he gave them to them. And they did not obey and they ended up getting kicked out and a lot of things happened. So they lost their home, they lost everything, they lost their relationship with God, they lost, relationship when it came to each other, the fall of man, our spiritual death, meaning us not being able to be here in the spirit the way we're supposed to originally be intended to be. And so, that cycle pattern, everything just continued on. But this is, this whole story and situation with Eve, it's like we even still see it now playing out. Everyone wants love, everyone wants this, everyone wants that. No one wants the policies, the procedures, the laws that govern, that make it, where it would be better for us, meaning to do what God called us to do and obey, so that our life will be so much different and so much better here. So this is what we got. We get what we see because of the disobedience, the not trusting, the not following what God told us, not believing He would provide us, wanting more, wanting to know more, have more, be like God. Now we're in His image, but we're not supposed to override Him. I even think about, people being prideful and different things, wanting to have all the glory and question God and all these things. And it's like, we're not here to do that. We're here to be in His image, of course, but we're not here to take over and say we're God and we're able to do these things without Him and, all of these type of things. We're here supposed to be submitted and obedient, and, the people not seeing us because we want the glory, but seeing Him because they're not supposed to see us. They're supposed to see Him and give Him the glory instead of us, because we cannot live, move, and have being without Him, our spiritual man. If we lay down and go to sleep, we cannot wake ourselves up it's him that, allows us to live, breathe, move, have our being. And so the reverence has to be there. I was thinking about this the other day, and I was walking and talking. I was like, oh Lord, of the rejection and all of this. And I was like, well, why is there so much rejection in my life? And I want to be, seen and heard or whatever. And I guess it was the way it was, because it's like you want to be seen and heard, but why? It's like, for what reason you want to get the applause? You want to have, they're supposed to see God, not me. So I get it. That's why he hides us. On top of that, he's the one that deserves all the honor, glory, and praise. Because we can't do these things without him. Like I said, we can't live, we can't do these things without him. And we sure can't live and fight these battles, especially the seen and unseen, without him. He keeps us. And every one of us has an assignment. Like I said, the positions and titles we hold, we see how those are being distorted. They are being dishonored. There's reason for those rules, like I said, because we have what we have now. The children don't obey the parents. The parents don't get along with each other. They don't know their roles. They don't assume their roles. All the roles are switched. You got the man being women, women being men. You got all of these things going on. The procreation not being procreated. You got stagnation, delay, backwardness. You got sin. You got all these things kind of rolled up into one. But God is good. He takes it all and he uses it. And like I say, even with the name that Adam is given, it is a masculine name, which we see them demasculating, because that's what the devil wants, because of the seed and their enmity between the seed and the heel. And this is why, because they want to turn the men feminine. They want the women to be masculine. They want the opposite of everything and switch it, because they want everything to be opposite of what God wants it to be. So it can anger him. It can hurt him. It can, make him come back and. So these are what we're seeing. And this is why, the devil consistently fights women or are after women and want to turn men into women, so that women can't have women into men, so they're opposite of each other. You see, it's divide and conquer, and it's at its best, and we see it. I mean, they were talking about the Met Gala, and I'm looking at all of these costumes that they're wearing, and it look like Disney costumes, and the magicians and the magical effect. For what reason? It's all about sorcery. It's all about make-believe. It's all about switching, doing what you want. But then when you look at a lot of the costumes, and I was just like, dang, most of the men look like women, and most of the women look like men. And it's like, dang, they put it in the red carpet, the tongue of either the serpent or the devil that they walk on, and it has so much meanings with the bloody shoes and the bloody. Oh, y'all need to look into all that stuff. But anyway, but people get a kick out of it, and some people see what I see, some people don't. They don't see it. Like I seen what's his face sitting down with his legs crossed. You see the man back. You see all of this stuff, and then what you call it standing up, showing her stomach, but she's dressed more masculine, and he's just more feminine. She looks more like one of those characters from the Disney thing. I forget, Mary Poppins. So it's just, honey. But that was just an example. I'm just using that as an example, and we sit here and we wonder why things are the way that they are when these men walking around with tight pants, man bags, and they cross their legs more than women. I digress. But this is a part of this, and it is to stop the production, because we're supposed to produce, and you can't produce that way. And the seed is going in the opposite direction. So, and I remember, I forget it was one Bible where they killed, he was killed for the seed being spilled out. And I always think about that. And everybody better be glad that God is on this grace thing because of Jesus, this mercy thing. But we got to get back to Eve, because even within our own selves and our own lives, there's things that we, fall short of. Because Eve, she actually has strengths and she have weaknesses, because we all do. Okay, we all do. And let's kind of look at some of what she had going on. As a mother of all humankind, the first woman, she was the first woman, first wife. She arrived on the planet without a mother and father. She was made by God as a reflection of his image to be a helper to Adam. And the two were reflections of his image, and they were to tend the garden and the animals, the perfect place to live. Perfect. Yeah. And they will fulfill God's purpose of populating the world, you know. So she was a wife, a mother, a companion, a helper, a co-manager of God's creation. Her hometown began in the Garden of Eden, but she was later expelled. Her husband was Adam. Her children was Cain, Abel, and Seth, and many other sons and daughters, as we can see. So when we look at these things, it's like God created the first family. He created, you know, everything from creation to family to friendship to marriage to relationship. And like I keep telling people, balancing that, whether you're a man or a woman, can be a lot of times, especially when we're supposed to be here in the spirits and not just basing our lives off of the natural, and finding the balance of how to be here and not be of here. This is where we need to be trying to ask God, like, okay, God, help me because I'm here, but I'm supposed to be in the spirit and not of the flesh. But I do have to do certain things because I am. So it's like, yeah, show me how to be here and to live the way you want me to. And so this is where we are. So for all my ladies out there, and then we lose ourselves, you know, in our families usually a lot, and we lose ourselves in, you know, being that nurturer, being that, and your heart can be used so much against you in, you know, the scheme of things, because you know, the devil knows that he can use it, he can trick you, he can manipulate you. And it's something that's naturally there, you're supposed to have. It can get you into a lot of trouble having a good heart because it can be used against you as a weapon, like I just said. And so God has to help us with that, to be able to have our hearts, but not to have them hardened by all of the evil wickedness. Why? Because we're going to be persecuted, and that's why the joy of the Lord is our strength. We need to put on our armor. We need to take up our cross. Why? Because we need the breastplate to protect our heart. He says, guard our hearts. And out of it flows, you know, the issues of life and all these things. So it's like when we're looking at these things, we have to understand that it's all for a reason. Everything that he says and tells us to do is for a reason. And it's not just to be, you know, he's our father. He's looking out for us. And although we may not think that, and we may think we know better and want better, we have to understand that we don't. On top of that, so God is into family. He's into relationships. Why? Because he's the one that started it, even with us. And then once the fall came in, because we were tricked, and everything just kind of went in the spiral where it is now. And this is why we have to get back to the original foundation, floor plan, you know, the procedures, the rules, the guidelines. And we can and we have to, because eventually God's coming back and he's going to do it himself. Well, he's already came, but he's going to come and, you know. So when we look at these things now, going from being this to being restored, healed, you know, and it's a journey, you know, and we need to be healed, we need to be delivered, and we need to be restored. And it's going to take time. So in the process, even myself, I found myself, you know, feeling certain types of ways because I did not necessarily steal my children. I know that I was a good mother, but was I a great mother? Was I a Proverbs 31 mother? Was I more like Eve, or in between the two? This is, you know, the way I see it. It's in comparison. I'm just like, wow, you know, but God is working on me, and I'm hoping to get into that other Proverbs 31 woman situation, because I may have checked off some of the boxes, but not all of them. I still kind of had some of these evish ways and tendencies about me. But I mean, she is, you know, one of our first mothers, and she is the first mother of all living. And when we think about what's going on, you know, they have this new stuff with the Proverbs 31 woman going on. And being a woman is more than just the feminine. Like I said, it's more than just, it's an office that you hold, and it's one that God has given and ordained you to have when you come here as a female, as a woman, meaning in your body. Because if he wanted you to be here as a male, he would have made you to be here as such. So we must honor, we must take seriously the offices that we hold in our own lives, and we must take them seriously because they do, in the natural and in the spiritual realm, have a high regard. Is a lot of work, it's a lot of responsibility, it is, a lot of room for error, a lot of room for we don't know or we don't understand, and learning ourselves. And I had to give myself some grace, and even my own mother and her mother, giving them grace, because yeah, we go through some things, and we're all just here learning and trying to move forward and get, through this thing called life, and learn, and living, but learning, at the same time. Because we don't know it all, and it will always be a process, and we will not be perfect, any of us, until Christ comes back. So we're consistently living, we're consistently learning, falling, failing, and growing and healing, and it's still a cycle that we're going to continue to do. So I hope this message helped someone. And when I looked about them with the soil and the cycle of life and all of that, it just reminds me of how everything is birthed, and it, is nurtured and all of that. And then even after it's deceased and it's so, it goes back to soil, it goes back to do what? Rejuvenate, replant, the good, the bad, the manure. It all is cultivated in the garden, us, the church, the trees, the life, all of these things that God talks about in the Bible. So when we look at them, we just see, Jesus spoke of them. Even the prophets of the past, they spoke, of a lot of things pertaining to these things. So hopefully we're going to transition from this woman of discontent, this woman of not being happy and satisfied. And as you can see with anything, she wants more. And all of us have been chasing and wanting more and not being content, happy with what we have, what God gives us. We're always wanting more than competition. So we have to be careful of that. And then as we can see, if not, God will take it away, because that's exactly what happened. She wasn't happy being happy. She wasn't happy. And I wonder about that. They have the perfect life, but I guess, I don't know. And it was perfect until someone came and told them otherwise, put another thoughts in their head to think otherwise, like this something wrong with what we have, and when we see it in life each and every day, and it's usually an outsider, and the devil loves it, and he loves to use it and run with it in that way. And I myself has seen it in my own life, in my own family, in my own, situation, and it's just like, whatever that may be, with people, with places, with things, but I have to hold myself accountable, because we have to, for our and I would say, when it came to Adam, he did not want to hold himself accountable. And I mean, to some degree, Eve didn't either. But we must learn from their mistakes. If not, we'll be doomed to repeat them over and over again. And if they already made them, we don't want to make them ourselves. Even when we're parenting our own children, and I say this, shoot, my son will be, my oldest, he'll be 31 this year, so I've been doing this a long time. Before that, I had my siblings. It's like it was always, responsibility, and I'm getting to a point now, I'm like so sick of responsibility. Like, Lord, I do not want to have any more responsibility. Not to say it like that. But, whether it's our mental, emotional, physical, financial, and spiritual well being, we look first to our on earth, our parents, our natural ones, and they're the ones bearing the load. And we have to be careful to honor them, to respect them, to help them, to do what they ask, and to have reverence for them, because it makes us have blessing, could be the blessing curse behind it. And it also makes our lives easier and simpler, as well as for ourselves and our parents, and for the relationship to thrive and grow, and not to be so strenuous on either side. And although we don't agree and like what each other says and does, and a lot of this here world that we live in is just so like the stressful is so on the negative and focused on the um what is it, the negative aspects of most things, it's like doom, destruction, all the things that are not important is so important, or what's evil is good and good is evil. So we just have to look at that and pay attention to that, because that is just very disturbing. And we see, it's like the way that they show love and these different things, and everyone got their own whatever. It gets to be ridiculous, because it's like, oh wow, they call dysfunction, love and happiness, and it's really not. And like I said, having, it makes us disheartened. And that's what the devil was. It makes us discontent. It makes us harbor animosities, companionship, jealousy, envy against one another, competing all the time. And it's division and it's strife, and it breaks down the family and the family unit. And that's what he wants. The devil wants to do that. And we don't need and want to do that, because God does not want that for us. He wants us to have a relationship with him. He wants us to have a relationship with each other. He wants it to be healthy and whole and enriching, and not of evil, wicked sense, and not of destruction and doom and gloom, and not of folks, being abusive and obsessive and overpowering, overbearing, abusive of their powers. Jesus is the main example of how to be meek and weak, but within strength. And we have to learn how to balance those, because he did that so well for us and showed us that as an example. So we fall short. Yes, we do. And we have been like Eve. I mean, all of us have, whether you're a woman or not. But trying to get, or working towards, I would say, becoming the Proverbs 31 version of, what we're supposed to be here, which is what we need to be here, is what we need to be doing. So I hope that this message, let me read the Proverbs 31. I wonder if I should read it. Um, um, I'm trying to read here. Okay, give me 1 second. Proverbs, yeah, let me find it. Give me 1 second, because I'm trying to. I thought I had. All right, there we go. I thought I had pulled it up. I'm going to read it because we know the story of Eve, and we know she was discontented, and we know that that means she was not happy. She wasn't content with what she had. She wanted more, and I think we all, like I said, have that issue and problem, and we have to be careful, because being greedy, you will end up have nothing. And we always, I don't care what it is, people, places, things, searching for more. And it's not to say that we shouldn't have more, but we have to be careful, because God will take away what you do have if you're not never satisfied in having love, peace, and joy, and trusting in God that he will provide. And it's not even necessarily, he never told us he will provide us every one. He said he will provide all of our needs. And I think this is what people get upset. We all do. Is it's not our wants. We want him to provide us with our wants. So the Proverbs woman, I'm going to read from where this is Proverbs 31. It says, Sayings of King Lemuel. The saying of King Lemuel is inspired utterance from his mother taught to him. Listen, my son. Listen, son of my womb. Listen, my son. Answer to my prayers. Do not spend your strength on women, your vigor on those who ruin kings. It is not for kings, Lemuel. It is not for kings to drink wine, nor for rulers to crave beer, lest they drink and forget what has been decreed, and deprive all the oppressed of their rights. Let beer be for those who are perishing, wine for those who are in anguish. Let them drink and forget their poverty, and remember their misery no more. Speak up for those who cannot speak for themselves, for the rights of all who are destitute. Speak up and judge fairly. Defend the rights of the poor and needy. Now, when it comes, that's for the men. So I probably should have waited for that, but I just did it. But for the women, this is the wife of a noble character, a wife of noble character. Who can find it? She is far worth far more than rubies. Her husband has full confidence in her and lacks nothing of value. She brings him good, not harm, all the days of her life. She selects wool and flax and the works with eager hands. She is like the merchant ships bringing her food from afar. She gets up while it is night, and she provides food for her family and portions for her female servants. She considers a field and buys it out of her earnings. She plants a vineyard. She sets about her work vigorously. Her arms are strong for her task. She sees that her trading is profitable and her lamp does not go out at night, meaning she's still praying and stuff for her family. And this is what we need to be doing, because we leave all of that out. We're not obedient. We do a lot of listen. So in her hand, she holds the staff and grasps the spindle with her fingers. She opens her arms to the poor and extends her hands to the needy. When it snows, she has no fear for her household, for all of them are clothed in scarlet. She makes coverings for her bed. She is clothed in fine linen and purple. Her husband is respected at the city gate, where he takes his seat among the elders of the land. She makes linen garments and sells them, and supplies the merchants with sashes. She is clothed with strength and dignity. She can laugh at the days to come. She speaks with wisdom and faith, and faithful instruction is on her tongue. She watches over the affairs of her household and does not eat the bread of idleness. Her children arise and call her blessed, her husband also, and he praises her. Many women do noble things, but you surpass them all. Charm is deceptive and beauty is fleeting, but a woman who fears the Lord is to be praised. Honor her for all that her hands have done, and let her works bring her praise at the city gate. To all my ladies out there, let's go from Eve's to Proverbs 31 women. We can do this. I mean, we've been doing this a long time. Wife, mother, daughters, every title that we hold and hat that we hold in life. It's not an easy task to multitask all of those. Counselor, cook, I mean, everything that we do. And a lot of times we do forget ourselves. We, pour out so much into our gardens, into our fields, which is our children, our families, our husbands, our, households. And we do forget ourselves. So we need to pour into our cups. We need to take care of ourselves, and do not allow just those versions of us, the titles, to be all that there is. Because what God says that we are blessed, we're highly favored, we're loved, we're desired, we're respected. All of these things that God says about us that are in the Bible, that are yea and amen, promises, all of the things that he says to us to reflect who we are in him, okay, is the things that we need to be focused on, because more than any of those other things that we have and think, and because those things come and go and fluctuate, what God says, it stands, it never fails, it never changes. So we need to, take heed to that and just pay attention to that. So in those rough times, trials and tribulations, issues coming about, whether life is up, down, in and out, not allowing the devil, one, to steal our joy, or anyone for that matter, discourage us, have us discontented, have us not believing and trusting and having faith in God, having us not satisfied, more than anything, having us not having our peace and our joy, because that can be stolen. That's what the devil does, to steal, kill, and destroy. He comes as a thief. He comes to steal, kill, and destroy, to take our joy, our peace. Why? Because this is what we need. We get those things from God to sustain us. We get those things as seeds planted and rooted in us to sustain us, even in the times of winter, when there's lack, when we are pouring out and there's nothing else coming back, and God sustains us. Jesus sustains us. And so we need to understand that, and we need to hold on to the joy, not happiness, the joy, because when the persecutions come, we need to know that it may not be happiness we have, because happiness comes and goes, but the joy of the Lord, that's, and the peace is what we still need to have. That is the substance that we need to hold on to. And at the end of the day, we all need to say, no matter what goes on, we are rooted and planted, and whatever comes our way, we are Proverbs 31 women, and what? We still got joy. Be blessed, ladies. Happy Mother's Day. You wonderful, beautiful, blessed souls. Enjoy your day, your weekend. I hope that this word was a blessing to someone. And like I said, we still need to hold on to our joy. Be blessed. We are bruised and not broken. We can go from being Eves because we're always in process to being Proverbs 31 women. We're going to be processing and cycling. Okay, as time goes by throughout our lives, we start out young, we come middle, then we get older. But God's going to see us through it all. We still need to hold on to our peace and our joy. And that is what's going to give us our strength. So, like I said, ladies, enjoy your weekend. Enjoy yourselves. Be blessed. We're bruised, not broken, even though we get broken sometimes. But we're bruised and not broken. Love you guys. Later, until the next message. I hope that you all are honored and enjoy your children, the fruits of your labor, and get all of your flowers and stuff while you are here and still living and alive to smell them. As not wait for people to leave here to want to love them, bless them. We want to do that while they are still here. And I remember my grandma used to always tell me, do not give me no whole bunch of flowers when I leave here. I want my flowers now while I'm still here to smell them. So in all of our getting and doing, we're to honor our children, honor ourselves, honor mother, fathers, and we do that by how? It says it in the word, being obedient, obeying, respecting. So love you guys and be blessed. Enjoy your day. And Mother's Day is every day. It is not just about one day. It is about every day. And for all of us who have our mothers and those of us who don't, we must not take them for granted. We must love them and appreciate them while we still have them. Love you guys later. Be blessed. Who's not broken?